Welcome back to English with Teacher Dixon, highly esteemed learners. We want to further study the sounds of English language and particularly today on the nasal sounds. This is one of the classifications of consonant sounds. So in the classification of consonant sound, we have also a group, a category known as the nasal sounds. And this is classified based on the manner of articulation of a sound. Remember the criteria for the description of consonant sounds, ranging from the phonation process to their places or organs of articulation to manners of articulation. So based on manners of articulation, we have the nasal sound. This refers to those sounds produced with the help of the nose. There are certain sounds in English language in which, when produced, the organs of speech will come together and obstruct completely the flow of air from passing through the mouth, and consequently the sound or the air will find its way out through the nasal cavity, in other words the nose. Hence we have nasal sounds. So these sounds are three in number. In other words, we have only three nasal sounds in English language. That is, sounds produced with the help of the nose. And these are the sounds we want to consider in this lesson. First, we will consider how to articulate the sound. In other words, how to realize or produce the sound. And then how to spell the sound, the graphemes for each of the nasal sounds. So I'd like you to draw closer and then pay apt attention to this lesson. So we have here articulation and spelling of the nasal sounds. Articulation has to do with how to produce the sound. Then spelling has to do with the letters of the alphabet that can suggest the sound. If you see this particular letter, it means that you're likely to have a nasal sound there. Right, so the first nasal sound we want to consider is the bilabial nasal. This is known as bilabial nasal because of the organs of articulation involved in the production of this particular sound, and it is realized as mm. When the bilabial nasal is produced, the two lips will come together and block the flow of air from passing through the mouth, and consequently the air will find its way out of the nose. The air will pass through the nose. That's why we call it nasal. And since the two lips are involved here, we call it bilabial. Remember when I talked about bilabial plosive sounds, I said that there are sounds produced with the help of the two lips. So we have another bilabial sound here, and this one is nasal based on the manner of articulation. So that is how to realize the bilabial nasal. Nasal. The two lips will come together and obstruct the flow of air from passing through the mouth, and the air will find its way out through the nose. So we also have the different graphemes, that is the different letters of the alphabet that can represent the sound. The very first one is letter M, as in words like map, man, make. Also, we have the bilabial nasal where we have double M, as in comer, summer, hammer, and many more. Also, we have in place of MB with a silent B. When you have this kind of combination, the letter B is likely to be silent in most words with this combination. We have examples here. lamb. In the transcription, we don't have the b sound. Comb, comb. In the transcription, there's no b sound. And thumb. We have other words like that, so you can add to the list. Moreover, in place of mn, that is with silent letter n, we don't have the sound. What we have in place of mn is the sound. In words like him, condemn, solemn. So in these words, the final sound there is and the grapheme representing that sound is mn. So take note of this word combination. Take proper cognizance of it in words so that when you're reading, you're able to articulate the words or the sounds properly. Moreover, let's consider the next nasal sound we have here, which is alveolar nasal. Alveolar sounds are those sounds produced with the help of the tooth ridge, which is otherwise known as alveolar ridge. So when you want to articulate this sound, the tip of your tongue must be raised to your tooth ridge such that the two organs will stop the flow of air from passing through the mouth. That means it will lean on the alveolar ridge and block the flow of air from passing through the mouth, and as a result, the air will pass through the nasal cavity. That is how to realize this sound. Example, So, this is the alveolar nasal sound. We also have the different graphemes and the words example. That's for the alveolar nasal sound. And there are letter N, NN, KN, and GN. So for letter N, we have words like net, nose, night, name. For NN, we have winner, banner, funny, tunnel. So in place of these two N's, we have only one sound, which is So take note of this. We don't have double sound. We have only one representing or underlying two letters. Then in this particular grapheme, that is Kn, the K is silent. Hence, we're left with what? In words like knee, look at the transcription. We don't have the K sound there. So it's knee, knife. Knife begins with the sound. And that implies that we don't have the K sound. No and neat. So whenever you have this kind of letter arrangement, note that you're not going to have the K sound. Rather, you're going to have the sound. Moreover, in place of GN, the G is often silent. Hence, we have words like Nash, Nash, net, now. Look at this transcription, now, and noses, noses. They all begin with letter G, but the G sound is not realized in these words. So take note of the different spellings of the sound, which is known as alveolar nasal. Again, we have the velar nasal. Take cognizance of this particular sound because it poses a lot of problem to students when it comes to its realization. This is velar nasal because we make use of the velum and back of the tongue to realize the sound. In other words, the organs involved is the soft palate, otherwise known as the velum, and back of the tongue. So when this sound is articulated, the back of the tongue will lean on the soft palate, that is the lower roof of the mouth, the lower part of the roof of the mouth. Then you stop the flow of air from passing through the mouth, and the air you find it way out through the nose. That's why we call it nasal sound. Then we have different graphemes as well for the velar nasal, ranging from NG, which is the most obvious spelling of this sound. This sound is articulated as um, um. And we have it in words like sing, sing, long, king, hung, in place of ng in these words. Moreover, we can have the sound in place of letter n before k or g. In other words, before any velar sound. These two sounds are velar plosives, just like this one is velar nasal. So if you have the velar nasal, if you have letter n before any velar sound like k or g, the letter n will not be realized as rather it will be realized as in thank, thank. We have bank, we have uncle, we have ankle. Now looking at the word uncle, you may be inquisitive enough to ask, why do we have an sound in place of the letter N when the next letter is C? That is because in place of letter C, we have the K sound. That's why we realize it as co, co, uncle, uncle. So we have K there. Hence, the letter N is realized as N, uncle. The same thing applicable to the word anchor, anchor. So in place of CH, we have the K sound. So you understand that. Another spelling of the N sound is NGUE, only at final position of words. For example, tongue, tongue. As you can see, NGUE in this word spell only one sound, which is N. Whereas O spells the sound O, and then letter T spells the sound T. So we have tongue. Alright, so that's it about nasal sounds of English language. These are very important sounds as long as the English language is concerned. So I'd like you to work on the articulation of each of these sounds and also take note of the different graphemes that can represent the sound. However, I would like to say without mincing words that all nasal sounds, the three nasal sounds, are voiced. We don't have any voiceless nasal sound. All of them are produced with a vibration in the vocal cord. Thank you very much for watching this video. I remain your very own Teacher Dixon. Please do well to like, comment, and share. And moreover, I'd like you to subscribe to this channel. Let's study English together. Thank you.